So here's the challenge that we had in Game Dev Club today. In the second half we always have a Blender challenge, and we wanted to make an animated desert island scene, and this is a recap of how we did it in Blender. So from the beginning we started with a cube, and our focus today was on modifiers. So we've said already that we can press Control and 1 or 2 or 3 to add a subdivision surface modifier. But what that actually does is, if you click on this the modifier tab over here, it's added a modifier that subdivides it up into any number of cuts. Why? So that you can still stay with a small number of vertices, but it actually renders it with more vertices, so it's just easier to manage. So why is that useful? Let's start again and see. Control 2, right click, shade smooth, S and Z to squidge it down. Just means that we can have a simple shape that looks a bit better. So we tried to make a little island. If we press 3 on the keyboard, we selected the top part, E to extrude, S to scale, G to grab, and then E to grab up, and we've got a little hill on our desert island. Then if we go back into object mode by pressing Tab to the left of Q, we put on a material. We can change the color of the material to make it slightly orange, sand-like, but it doesn't change it on the screen until we go from solid mode into material mode. So now we can see that material. Some of you added extra little bits for your island by selecting in edit mode and pressing E to extrude. Mine looks a little bit like a fried egg, but never mind. The bit that took most work today was adding that animated C. So Shift A, make sure that you're not in edit mode, please. You're in object mode by pressing Tab. Shift A to add a plane. S to scale up. And I want it to all move, so there's waves. But before we can do that, we want more than just 4 vertices. So we have to go into edit mode, press F3 to search for subdivide, and it's this bottom one. We'll subdivide the mesh. We want to subdivide lots of times, so that's subdivide 10 times. That'll do. Why? So that we can add another modifier, this one here, and the one that we want is a displacement modifier. Now this has displaced every vertex by the same amount. Displace just means move. But instead of displacing every vertex by the same amount, let's add a texture, and that texture can control how much each vertex moves by. We can then edit the texture, change it from an image or movie, and go clouds instead. So we've got a 2-dimensional texture here, and how dark the texture is depends on how high or low each vertex moves. That's why we had to subdivide it, because each vertex can move a different point on here. Add the subdivision surface modifier, Control 2, right click, shade it smooth, add a little material so that it's going to be C-like, something like that. It's not animated yet, doesn't move, but it looks okay. To animate it, we'll use another modifier. Remember, that was the whole point of today's session. We'll add a wave modifier and hit play, and it waves. That's really exciting, but it's obviously not very realistic. So you can change all the details here. Let's slow it down, 0.1, and change the height, 0.05, something like that. It's actually displacing the whole thing too much, so we can change the displacement modifier. That's this one, I think. No, that's the subdivision surface modifier. Where's the displacement one? Here we go. Change the strength down so it's not being displaced by quite as much. And then if you wanted to add in anything else, I used a solidify modifier to turn a 2D shape into a 3-dimensional shape. I used a curve modifier to bend round the mesh for a palm tree. I'm not going to show you that, but hopefully it's enough of a reminder to get you to create your own desert islands. Enjoy. Love to see what you can create. Bye-bye.